morning, good morning, good morning. It's Donna here from Motuoru Development. I've come today to speak about what we do at Motuoru Development and to talk, excuse me, particularly about living with disabilities. So if that's your thing, if that's where you're at, get your cup of coffee, get a pen and paper so you can write some notes, and hopefully we can share some information and give you some knowledge and some tips and tricks to help along the way. So I'm Donna, and I have my wonderful granddaughter and also staff member extraordinaire here.
Hi, I'm Zoey.
So Zoey and I are sharing a microphone today because if you follow my show regularly, you'll know that I'm having some music problems, some problems with getting music going, and I think you have to be under 30 to do that. And Zoey, you've just had a birthday.
Yes,
a significant birthday.
I've had my 21st. Don't feel 21 though. It's not yet.
Yeah. So Zoey works for me at Motuoru Development running the youth mentoring program, and we can talk more about that as we go. But she's also my granddaughter, so it's a family business, which I'm proud of. It's a business that I own and put together, and Zoey has worked for me for, gosh,
about 3 years now.
Yeah, so 3 years. That's doing the youth program. We'll talk about that more. So we're going to talk about disabilities. Both of Zoey and I both have disabilities that can be challenging, so we can talk from our personal experience, but also we can talk a bit about from research and from our work perspectives and who we've worked with. I think what we'll do closer to the end of the show is touch on anxiety and how to manage the anxiety around that as well. So, the full show, and we're talking about something we know well about, so that will make it easier. So, Motuoru Development, I will give the details and the contact details at the end of the show so that you don't have to rush around with the biro now. You can also watch this as a replay on Arrow FM radio, where we're coming from. And Motuoru Development has a Facebook page, so you can contact us here. We also have a website. Motuoru, I have used the name and the verb. So the verb for motu is to not be unstuck, and oru is to not be bogged down. And that's kind of what we hope we can do, is help people in our community move forward by being unstuck and not bogged down. So moving forward is our logo.
I love that.
Yeah, it is. It's good,
Yeah,
We just,
it's quite nice.
I think, when you are in a difficult place, even an inch is moving forward. And just remember, sometimes you just need to meet one step at a time. And, we've all been through difficult times, and it feels like you're walking through mud or, climbing up the never-ending stairs that are just, you're aching and aching. But 1 inch is moving forward, and so that's our goal, is to sort of support people to do that, So today, disability. So I am legally blind. A lot of you may well know me from my guide dog, Kenzie. So I do walk around town with a guide dog. She's a big blonde Labrador that a lot of people know because I'm out and about in the community a lot. I've had her for 6 years. So I have retinitis pigmentosa, which is a disease that attacks and kills, excuse me, I had a tickle in my throat today, attacks and kills the rods and cones in your sight. So from the outside in, my sight is dying, and so I have about the size of the palm of my hand's worth of good vision. The rest of it is either totally black or just sort of fuzzy-wuzzy. So I get those beautiful sort of romantic pictures of people with all the fuzz and smooth around them is how I see you all in a romantic view.
It's like you have your own built-in filter.
Absolutely, yeah. So my mum was blind. It's a genetic disease passing through the families. Thankfully, Zoey hasn't shown any signs of it.
Not yet.
As yet. So hopefully she won't show signs of it. It's kind of hit and miss on who gets it and who doesn't. It is a dominant gene, but so I started having some signs around 26 years old, and it's progressively got more loss of sight as I've aged, and I'm sort of mumble age now. But I still live a very full and wonderful life. But I will say it does add some challenges, and that's what we're here to talk about today. So that's a little bit about me. Zoe, do you want to hear something about you?
So I am profoundly deaf, and I have been deaf since birth. I actually recently just found out why I'm deaf, which you think I would have known that growing up, but I didn't. I actually don't have any of the hairs. I've got very few hairs in my ears, which the sound travels through and vibrates. So I can still hear, just not much at all, and I have hearing aids to help out with that.
You're bald.
Yeah, pretty much. It's interesting to learn that when you're 21 and been deaf your whole life. I never even thought to learn why I was deaf. But yeah, I do have challenges, but I've learned to cope with those challenges. The older you get, it gets easier.
So, yeah, we can certainly speak from personal perspective. How about we have a song and then we can really get into the difficulty. So good luck to us trying to get the song on, but Zoe's going to choose one out of my favourites list. So
Yeah. Okay, hopefully it goes all right.
no, that didn't work, guys.
That's all right.
So Zoe will change phones, I think, but so I can keep talking because I'm good at that anyway. Yes, living with blindness. So I think my family, the one thing we are blessed with is it's a strong gene, and a lot of us in my family are blind. We are also blessed with a sense of humour, and I think that is something that I've found critical.
Sense of humour is so important.
Yeah, and I think if you don't have one, that could be a big struggle and you'll have to find other ways, but I do use my sense of humour. So forgive me if I say things that are could offend. If you are someone that has disabilities and challenges, and I say something with a sense of humour to it, I truly, honestly don't want to offend. So if you do find what I'm saying a challenge, my humble apologies. I do use a sense of humour to manage my challenges, and that's how I roll. So. If you do struggle with that, I would, fast forward those bits. But I have found that having a sense of humour has helped. Also having a wonderful family, I guess, because we all have our challenges. You know, having had my mum, who was sort of the matriarch of the family, that everybody, was around. Being quite blind, everybody learned how to manage it, and it's almost like it's normal, it is normal, it's just, we knew that if Nana was there, she needed to be told if there was a step ahead of her or a branch or something like that.
We don't think twice about it. Our family honestly just is amazing with that.
Yeah, we just say, you wouldn't have heard it, obviously, but at your 21st, Pop yelled out to you and he went, Zoe, to talk to you.
Yeah.
And you walked away. And he was going to say, what are you, deaf or something?
I am.
And he went, oh, that's right, she is.
I always get that. I get people saying all the time, oh, you're so rude, you didn't turn around and talk to me. I'm like, well, you do realise I can't hear you.
Yeah. And I get that with sight too. People think I'm a snob because I just, walk past them or don't acknowledge people, and I genuinely don't see them. I did find that quite challenging when I first started losing my sight and people didn't know. I did lose some friends because, my assumption because of that. And I've also had people come and apologise to me later and saying, I had not nice thoughts about you because you walked past me and thought they were thinking not great things. And they've come and apologised, having a cane or a dog sort of indicates to them, well, I did have some challenges. So, there has been times in the past when I genuinely haven't seen people and they've got upset by it. And, I can't apologise for that. It is what it is. And I suppose, you know, we kind of have to treat people the same, even if they don't have a disability. You know, if you are walking past someone and they don't say hello, well, say hello to them.
Yeah,
You know,
it goes both ways.
It's a two-way door. You know, if I mean, my friends now know to get right in my face and wave me hello so that I can see them. They know it, but people didn't know that then. And yeah, it's a two-way door, that one. If someone, you know, if you say something and someone doesn't hear, well, and you really want to make that connection, well, tap them on the shoulder. You know, this is what you do with deaf people. You know, it's a safe place to talk.
Also, some deaf people have anxiety, so if you come up behind them and tap on their shoulder, they might get scared, but that's quite normal too.
Yeah. You know, tap them on the shoulder and say, you know, oh, hi. Yeah.
One of my biggest things I struggle with is people tend to treat people who are deaf like they're not smart. I get it a lot. I get people thinking because I can't hear, I must be thick, which is not a nice way to put it, but that's literally what they say.
Yeah.
And I have people talking to me like I don't understand them, and I've got hearing aids, so I can hear you.
Yeah.
And it's quite insulting.
Yeah. And that, funnily enough, I saw that a lot with Mum, my mum with Nana. We would go into a supermarket and she would be trying to get food out of the food bays, and she couldn't see, obviously, but people would be so rude. They'd roll their eyes and they'd huff and they'd puff and, you know, and they'd say mumble things under their breath, and it's like, really? Therefore, by the grace of God go I. Tomorrow, God forbid, this could be you.
Yeah.
You know, you could have, you know, an illness or an accident, and gosh, you know, God forbid that happen, but you know, therefore by the grace of God go I. You could be that person tomorrow, and would you like someone to treat you like that? I actually started writing a book. I'm hoping I finish it, about my journey in sight loss, and I've called it Does She Take Sugar? Because every time I went out for a coffee, people would not ask Mum, and you probably find the same thing. They never asked Mum whether she wanted sugar with her tea. They'd look at me, and I'd say, well, don't look at me, look at Mum. You know, she's blind, not stupid.
It's quite disappointing considering how open the world is now. You'd think they'd be more accepting of people with disabilities.
Yes. One of the things that I remember when you were really little was Kushla, Zoe's mum, and my daughter took her into a shop to buy something, and Zoe was wanting, you know, one of the whatever it was, items that were in the shop, and she was, because she had no speech at the time, she was making sort of noises like that, and the woman behind the counter, you know, bollocked Kushla and basically said what a terrible mother she was, because this, you know, the child, how rude this child should be speaking and using her manners, you know, why isn't she using her manners? And Kushla was in a vulnerable space at the time, and, you know, all of us, even when I say that I have a sense of humour and I manage it well, there are times when it gets in. You know, if you're my age, you'll understand that ad on TV. It gets in, Mrs. Marsh. You know, it does, eh? And you can get quite upset by it.
Yeah.
And so, hopefully, what we'll do, you think you've worked out some songs?
Yeah,
what we'll do is play a song, and we'll talk about some strategies to manage it.
Well, listen, do you want to flick the switch?
Say she's crazy and her life's a mystery. Oh, but love grows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows like me. There's something about her head on her mind. It's a feeling that's fine, and I just gotta say, hey, she's really got a magical spell, and it's working so well. tell her that I love her endlessly. Because love grows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows like me. There's something about her head on her mind. It's a feeling that's blind, and I just gotta say, hey, she's really got a magical spell, and it's working so well that I can't get away. I'm a lucky fella, and I just gotta tell her that I love her endlessly. Because love grows where my rosemary goes, and nobody knows like me. Keeps going every place she's been, and nobody knows like me. If you met her, you'll never forget her. Nobody knows like me.
Well, isn't that a great song? That got you moving, didn't it? Well, we were chatting away to it and goofing off to it. It's a really lovely song, nice upbeat song. So we're talking today, it's Donna from Motuoru Development, Donna and Zoey, and we're talking today about living with disabilities. And we've talked a little bit about our stories and our challenges and living with disabilities. The statistics are that there are 1 in 4 living with a disability in New Zealand. So that's every fourth person in a room, there is one that has a disability. Now, there can be hidden disabilities. There's lots of people that have disabilities that you don't even know. And, you know, sometimes you can find that with those disabled parking, when people have disabled parking and then they get out of the car and you think, oh, well, I've had it said to me, why have you got one? How dare you? Because you're quite mobile. It's like, well, you know, there's a lot of things that people don't understand.
My friend, she, I'm not going to name her because she's very private about it, but she uses a disability parking ticket. And she parked up to go to the supermarket one time, and she got absolutely abused by this one guy because he said, oh, you realise you're parking there, you can't park there, that's not for you. And she tried to explain to him, like, I am disabled, you just can't see it. And he had a huge go at her. She got so upset that now she doesn't park there anymore.
Wow.
Which is really sad because she does need it.
I would make him more determined to do it.
Yeah. It's just quite upsetting that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it does impact on your anxiety and your stress levels. How do you manage that, Zoe? What are some of the things that you do to?
It's hard to say because I've been deaf for so long that I unintentionally have my coping ways. But a lot of the things I do is, because I have quite bad anxiety and I get panic attacks, I can't go in malls. So I pre-plan going to malls, so I make a plan when I do go. And I do things like, if it gets too much, I stand outside for a little bit, or same as in town. I find myself quite stressed out in town because I'm constantly looking behind me to make sure I'm not missing out anyone who's trying to talk to me, and it's quite stressful, so I just find ways to manage that. And I mean, the new hearing aids nowadays are very good. They have like 360 sound and all of that, but it can still be very stressful. Yeah.
Yes, it must be, I would imagine, just as a human being, you want to make that communication and do that talking but while you're walking.
Yeah.
Same thing as when we were walking here and my guide dog wanted to follow you instead of walking beside you, and I kind of couldn't talk to you because it was my dog was taking me behind you all the time, and I wanted to talk, so I guess that's similar.
Yeah, and
Excuse me.
I mean, it's so hard to try and communicate properly, but I do things like I read lips, and I'm very, very good at picking up on how someone's feeling by looking at them, because I've been doing it my whole life. I know how to read people's body language more.
Yeah, so you've learnt that that visual thing has really sort of compensated.
Yeah. Yeah, which has got harder now that I'm slowly going blind. So hopefully that doesn't get worse.
Yeah, and it's interesting how we do compensate, because I know that my hearing, more my touch and sense has got more sensitive since I'm losing my sight. So I now can't wear sort of really solid heeled shoes because I need to feel the ground
Yeah.
through my shoes, and I really do concentrate on my fingers a lot with sensory stuff. So, pardon me, so yes, you do definitely compensate, you know, your other senses pick up on that, don't they?
Yeah.
Because you were born deaf, but also I was, I lived with a blind mother, and I started losing my sight quite young, so we've both gained these strategies quite quickly.
I had a really cool experience going to Van Ash school. So a lot of my fins I've learnt through things like that. So I've learnt lots of different things to cope with it. But it still doesn't make it easy. It's not an easy disability to have, because a lot of people don't understand it. One question I get all the time is, what can you hear? And I'm like, I don't know. What can you hear? Like, how am I meant to answer that question? I don't know.
Yeah.
But it is hard, and you learn different things to get better, I guess. I do certain things when I'm having conversations with people to help, and I focus a lot on my speaking, because if I don't focus on it, I can mess up my words quite a bit, and that doesn't help with people making me look like I'm stupid a lot, which is, hard.
But that's exhausting too, isn't it? Do you find you get knackered? I'm exhausted at night time.
I get migraines all the time. When I get home, my poor partner, when I get home, I take my hearing aids out, and I have like an hour or so where I just don't talk. And I mean, he understands. He's very good about it, because he has Tourette's, so both of us understand each other in a way. I think that's why we work so well, because I can't hear his tics, so I don't get annoyed by them. Yeah,
that's a positive, isn't it? Yeah. I find I get exhausted if I've used my sight a lot during the day, and I have to sort of lay on my bed and listen to a book and have my eyes shut for an hour. So that, I get the same thing, and my partner knows that if I'm in my room, it's usually because I just need that downtime to bring myself back down again after concentrating all day. And it is hard work, really hard work. To live with a challenge like that and to manage it. I suppose because we're both sort of out there people and doing it, that makes a difference, because we're out there people doing it, and we have to manage those challenges with that. It would be so much, it would be really frightening if you didn't have those skills to manage that.
Yeah. What I have learned is a lot of deaf people hide away. I obviously been deaf my whole life. I don't know anyone who's deaf. I don't have any friends or anything who's deaf. I just don't, there's not a community out there for deaf people. Unless you are completely deaf and know sign language, then there's like Facebook pages and stuff, but I don't know anyone in town who's deaf, and it's quite hard, because you see, like, I know you have the Blind Foundation and all of that, but I don't have anything, so I've kind of just learnt to...
Maybe it's something you could set up as like a... So what Zoe's talking about is we have a group called Y Blind, W-A-I, Blind, so as in Wairarapa Blind. We're supported by Blind and Low Vision, but it's really a group of, there's about 12 of us, of all blind and low visioned people that meet once a month, and we do activities and fun stuff. But I think we all feel so much better afterwards, and it's simply because we're with a group of people that understand our language. They get what we're talking about. You don't have to monitor it and filter it to be so not talking as a blind person, but talking as a person in a room of sighted people. You do use a different language than if you're with a whole group of blind people. So maybe it's something you could, if there's anybody out there that is, hearing impaired, you do contact us. We'll give our details closer to the end of the show, and, there's always something we can, put together. I think when you're with a group of people that speak the same language of you, and can help you. You know, you talk about something that's happened during the week and say, oh, I fell over this, ha, 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 you know, really hurt, and I've got this bruise, but next time I'll learn da-da-da, or somebody will say, well, have you tried da-da-da, you know, so you can share tips and ideas. Because falling over is something that I do regularly with my sight challenges.
I actually learnt the other day that deaf people have balance problems. I never even thought about that, but growing up I always was very clumsy. I thought it was just me. I didn't think even of it. But
that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, because you have no sense of direction. And I always struggled with that growing up with games. I had a teacher at primary school, not going to name because she's still there, but there was Chinese whispers at school.
Oh gosh.
And she knew I couldn't play it, so every golden time she picked the game, and I had to sit out and watch everyone playing it, and I couldn't play because I can't hear whispers, and that was probably really hard to cope with.
Yeah, well, that's not making it an inclusive thing for you. It's excluding you from something, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm the chairperson of the local governance board for the CCS Disability Action in Masterton, and I went down to Christchurch to a hui that they were having, and one of the people there said, whatever we do in planning or deciding on anything or creating plans or building or anything like that, if we can think about the disabled, then everybody can use it. And that's huge, you know, and that really, it was like a penny dropping for me. It's like, actually, that is so right. If you create a playground and you think about people with wheelchair access, people with sight challenges, elderly, you know, all of those sorts of things, you're starting to think about those things and you create that around that, then everybody, not just, as I said, 25% of us can have disability, so not 75% of us can use that, but 100% of us can use that.
I know a lot of places in town that aren't accessible, and it actually blows my mind that they don't think about it. I'm not naming because I work there, can't say anything, not this work, my other work, but it's not disability friendly at all. You go there to shop and the floor's too bright, you can't see anything, or you can't get through the aisles. Even I struggle to walk through the aisles, so I can only imagine what it's like if you've got a wheelchair.
Yeah, imagine being down that low with all those clothing going past you all the time.
Yeah, it just doesn't seem very accessible, and it blows my mind that they don't think about it. And I brought it up with one of the people who moves things around, and she said, oh, I never even thought about that. And it just goes to show that it's not necessarily their fault that they don't do it. It's more that they just don't know. They didn't think about it. Because, I mean, I've grown up with a whole family of variety of disabled people, so we know about it naturally, but some people genuinely just don't know.
That's right, yeah.
But that's where getting our message across would be good. Yeah, the more we talk about it, the better it'll get.
Absolutely. I think that's, you know, so we've talked about having a sense of humour, we've talked about managing your anxiety and finding skills to do with it, but talking about it and being proactive and getting out there and, you know, trying to get people to talk about it as though it's normal, because we are normal.
Yeah.
We're average normal people that want to do the same as average normal people out there. We just can't.
Yeah.
And that's not okay. You know, we should be able to do what the average Joe blogs. I pay the same rates as everybody else. I do the same jobs as everybody else. I earn a wage and I pay tax the same as everybody else. But there's so much that I can't do because it's not designed for people with disabilities. You know, but things have changed. I've got to admit there has been change, because when I went to school, you know, as I said, I'm mumble years old. Being disabled, you were hidden. You were kept away, and you had one special. You know, we had what we called the special classroom that all of the people with challenges went to, and awful names like being deaf and dumb, and you know, things like. So things have changed. I agree that they've changed, but we've still got a way to go, guys. So let's keep talking about it. Shall we have another song, and then maybe we could talk about what some of the changes are that we have been involved in. Have been
Awesome.
If I was a flower growing wild and free, all I'd want is you to be my sweet honeybee. And if I was a tree growing tall and green, all I'd want is you to shade me and be my leaves. If I was a flower growing wild and free, all I'd want is you to be my sweet honeybee. And if I was a tree growing tall and green, all I'd want is you to shade me and be my leaves. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. If you were a river in the mountains tall, the rumble of your water would be my call. If you were the winter, I know I'd be the snow, just as long as you were with me when the cold winds blow. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. If you were a wink, I'd be a nod. If you were a seed, well, I'd be a pod. If you were a floor, I'd wanna be the rug. And if you were a kiss, I know I'd be a hug. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea. If you were the wood, I'd be the fire. If you were the love, I'd be the desire. If you were a castle, I'd be your moat. And if you were an ocean, I'd learn to float. All I want is you, will you be my bride? Take me by the hand and stand by my side. All I want is you, will you stay with me? Hold me in your arms and sway me like the sea.
Well, that was bright and bouncy, wasn't it? That was such a great song. I've not heard that one before. I think, Zoe, you can come back and do my music because you pick really good upbeat songs. Thank you for that one. So it's Donna and Zoe here from Motuoru Development, and we've been talking about living with disabilities and challenges in our life challenges, some invisible, some are visible, and how to manage those. So we've talked about, trying to have a sense of humour, speaking to people that speak the same language as you. So have a group that you can connect with, that understand you, that get you, that you can get tips and ideas from. Be accepting of other people that you don't know whether they've got a disability or not. And I always say everybody's pushing a wheelbarrow, but some are heavier than others. And we don't know how heavy people's wheelbarrows are. We just don't know what's going on for them. So treat everybody the same and treat them so that they can, cope, whether it be a mental health challenge or a physical challenge or a sensory issue. Everybody's got a challenge out there. And so that's, it's been an interesting chat around some challenges. But there's been some really cool stuff going on. One of the things that I've been involved in and Zoe's now going to be involved in is our Mayor, Gary Caffel, has asked myself through CCS Disability Action to help him set up a disability advisory group for Masterton's District Council. So we now have one, which is really great. There are only 3 other, I believe, and I could be corrected on this. There's Hawke's Bay, Napier, Wellington and us, who have a disability advisory group connected to our council. So what that means is that there's a group of us that I've drawn together, and Zoe's included in that. So I've got someone from the hearing impaired world, I've got someone that's living with a wheelchair, someone that has an invisible disability, someone from the elderly sector, and someone from sight impaired, obviously myself, and what else have I got? Who else have I got? That's it so far. There's 7 of us. But our goal is to meet 4 times a year with Gary, Mayor Gary, and a district councillor and some of the team and staff that work behind the scenes within the district council around Planning Act preparation, and to go over any plans, any ideas, any designs, anything that the council have got that they need some support around, looking from the disabled communities lens.
I think that would be really good. It's surprising that that's not already a thing.
No, not even in
Yeah.
the whole country, apart from those three other other councils. So, really exciting and really great for Masterton. So they have a rural advisory group, and they're called RAGS. And we're going to be the disability advisory group, so we're the DAGs. I don't mind being a DAG. That's okay, I can cope with that. So that's really exciting, up and running. It just started getting up and running. And what else have we got? We've got the blind and low vision group that I talked about. So yet again, if you are struggling with things like that, you can make contact with me. I have a close connection with the blind and low vision New Zealand, and so I can give you some advice on that as well, which I'm a member of. But also, if you need someone to talk to, just give us a ring around challenges around your site. That's not a problem. I can give you some tips and ideas on that. Zoe, as Zoe has said, there's not a lot out there for hearing impaired. So
It would
maybe
be nice to hear from some people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you do feel, and I mean, this is, I applaud Arrow FM for having it on TV. Hi guys, if you're watching, well, it's a bit like that when you're on the sports ground, you're waving in the wrong direction, aren't you? So for having it on a screen on TV as well, so it's taped and played on their website and played on YTV as well, so that people with other challenges can watch it. That's another medium, so it's providing extra mediums for people, which is to be applauded.
Yeah, that's really good.
I suppose technology really helps a bit nowadays. It's getting better and better, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Mainly for sight impaired though. As a deaf person, subtitles are awful at the moment. Neon doesn't have subtitles at all.
Right.
Netflix does, but they get it wrong all the time. Because I rely solely on subtitles when I watch movies. The movie theatres don't have subtitles, which I understand because people complain about subtitles all the time. But it makes it really difficult to go to the movies and enjoy the movie because I don't understand what's going on. Because I can hear it, but when you're deaf, it's not just sound volumes that you're hearing pitches too. So sometimes I can't hear lower tones, I can only hear higher tones. So when someone's talking really low in a movie, I can't hear it.
Yeah.
And they don't have subtitles, which is really surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That boils back to what we were talking about before about making it inclusive for everybody, and someone complaining about there being subtitles. Well, really, again, that goes back to that, therefore by the grace of God go I, that they might need those subtitles one day. And surely there's a way that they can be worked so they're not invasive for people that have clear sound or clear sight, not invasive on them, but easily accessible for
They don't have to have it on all the time, even if they have a sign saying if you're hearing impaired, let us know.
Yeah.
And then they can turn them on or something. It's just crazy, mind-blowing that that's not on any of the streaming websites. I mean, some of them do have subtitles, but even then they get them wrong.
Yeah.
It's just shocking that it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So there's still some challenges out there. So the DAGs is going to be a really good way of forcing the issue on things. So what will happen with that is, for example, if the council have a plan to do something like a park or a playground or something, we will be an advisory team that can view it and sort of look at it from our perspectives and say, well, have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? Why is there not a wheelchair accessible swing? That sort of thing. So that's really exciting. So there is a lot going on out there. Mental health, I think, is, as we said, we both get exhausted and have our ways of managing it at night time. We get that it's hard. We get that it can be really challenging, particularly if you want to be out and about and out there. You've kind of got to manage that, and there's some work-life balance and some health balance and life balance around that. That's something that we can help with. If you do need some extra help, you can contact us. Do you want to give our details?
Yeah, so we've got a phone number. It's 0800 080 171.
Yeah, and we also have a Facebook page, or two, because you do a youth...
Yeah, so we've got our Motuoru Development Services Facebook page, and then for the youth group we have Motuoru Youth.
Yeah,
Yeah.
brilliant. And also, if you're listening to this, you can go on Arrow FM and view it again on their site, on their website, which is very easy to use, quite accessible, I'd have to say. Thank you,
Yeah.
Arrow FM. And you can listen to this again, but please make contact. You know, we love talking to people. We're very open about our disabilities and our challenges. We've certainly got lots of experience. I've got a degree in psychology and a diploma in social work and 35 years experience as a social worker, as a registered social worker. So, you know, I've got a lot of experience here, but also life experience, which my partner calls being QBE, qualified by experience. So he has a QBE, but Zoey has qualifications in 101 of mental health and 101 of drug addictions and youth mentoring.
Yeah.
So Zoe's got some really good experience here. Do you want to talk at 5 minutes? How are we doing for time, guys?
Got 5 minutes.
So maybe a quick spiel
Yep.
about the youth group. And
So I run a youth group that goes on every Wednesday afternoon. We have a couple of youth that come by every Wednesday, and we do a couple of things actually. We're on the radio once a month, this radio here. And we have a community garden that we go down to where the youth can grow veggies to feed their families. And we play games, eat food, we cook, we bake, do a mixture of everything. It's really what the youth want to do. And we have a room, and it's just a safe space for them to be themselves.
Yep.
That's why I give them the option to choose what they want to do, because I feel like it gives them control over something in their life that they can focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what we discovered was that there were a lot of youth there's youth that are in the mental health system and not doing particularly well in getting the support. There are youth that are doing quite well, but there's a group of youth there that are on shaky ground. They're just not doing so well and just need some advice, some help, some mentoring, and exactly what Zoe says, a safe place just to be themselves, because sometimes they just can't be themselves wherever they are. It's a very small group. It's not a youth group per se, as, you know, like 30 children running around driving us mad.
We keep it small.
It's a very small group, so they get intense work, and Zoe has the benefit of therapeutic social workers behind her, so that if things come up, she can use that. But that's been a wonderful
I found
opportunity.
the closer the kids get to each other, the more they're opening up about it. A couple of times where I've just sat there and they've ran the whole thing themselves, and they've just talked and played games and didn't even ask what we were doing today. They just walked in and grabbed a game and started playing, and it just shows what the group is about.
Yes,
really.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that and you've got a good balance of where they can just do what they need to do and what they want, but also have things like the radio show and the community garden where they can grow from it and learn some skills and strategies. And hence why this is called Motuoru Youth Radio Show, because the youth run once a month. They do theirs on 4 o'clock on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I do this one once a month, 10 o'clock on Wednesday as well.
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to call it at the end of the show. So thank you, Zoe, for coming and joining me today. So 0800 080 171 or
our Facebook page.
You can make contact with us, and we would love to hear from you. And have a good week.